Okay, for our small group today, we are going to do a book called Roughing It on the Oregon Trail. One of my favorite books. I love this book. It's a historical fiction time travel piece, meaning you are going to see some real places. You are going to see some real dates. You are going to see some real things that happened during the Oregon Trail. Only the story's made up, okay? Because we don't know how to time travel. I wish we did. That would be really fun if we could, take a trip right now.
Yes,
go back there, wouldn't it?
Stuck.
Oh.
We can go back to 16.
I wouldn't want to get stuck, okay? All right, so Roughing It Oregon Trail is going to be our selection. And I'm going to ask you right off the bat, what do you notice? What do you notice, Addie? You see a carriage, okay. How do you know that's a carriage? You learned about it in first grade, okay. Anybody else?
There's a girl inside of the carriage, and if you take the sticky note off, there's a guy pulling the bulls.
Okay, a guy pulling bulls.
Yeah, and then there's a dog right next to it.
Okay. So, where do you think they're going?
They're probably going into the river, which is going across the Oregon Trail.
Okay, why do you say that?
Because it looks back there, there's like a trail.
Okay. Ooh, which reminds me, if you turn it over to the other side, we have some words that we're going to work on. And the first one is exactly what you see on the very back. If you open up your book completely, so you see the front and the back, you got caravan, and that is exactly what you see as a caravan. A caravan is when a group of people move from one place to another and they follow each other.
Well, that's Elizabeth and her family.
Oh, okay. And if you've ever gone on a caravan, maybe for a sporting event, we've like if I've gone to a basketball game and a whole bunch of cars went at the same time, so that they do have caravans today, but the caravan we're talking about is when all of them were going on the Oregon Trail. Another vocabulary word that I want you to make sure you pay attention to is this one.
Sentry.
The word sentries. Okay, a sentry is a soldier or a guard, somebody who is watching out or doing a lookout for any kind of dangers that might be. So when you see the word sentries, soldier, guard. Another word is this one, that you might or may not know. Scouring, okay? And in this story, the word scouring means to break away, to take apart. If you look at the picture that you have right here, you can tell that some of the dirt has been scoured away here. Maybe even was grass at one time. But anytime you have a removal of something, that would be a kind of a scouring. Like a scouring pad, if you're ever in the kitchen and you're rubbing to get some food off of a pan, you would be scouring it.
And it's going all the way back there, which is usually over 2 miles.
It's a very long caravan. The other word that I want you to say, and I know that you've heard this word before, and the word is depression. And we're not going to talk about a depression like somebody's sad, and we're not going to talk about a depression like if there's a hole or a lowering of land as a depression in the ground. We're talking about a depression that was the economy wasn't doing so well. Like people couldn't get jobs, or they didn't have money to buy things. That's the type of depression that we're going to talk about, and that's we'll learn more about that when we read the story. All right. So those are 4 words that you may not know. I think that's good. If you take a look, just turn the page real quick for me. You have a map in the center, and again, this is a real trail that happened back in the 1800s. So they are starting at Missouri. If you look where the star is down there, and they're going to stop in Oregon, and you can see where we would be in the purple part, Ohio, but you can see how far they went. We're about halfway across the United States.
That was the old United States?
Yes, yes, and that's before we bought. Yeah, before we bought all of this. Yes, Addie.
But this is the one I heard of notice that when people,
Oh, okay. All right. Addie just said on the yoke here, it looks like one is hooked, and it looks like he might be guiding them, like pulling them, so they maybe they are crossing over there. And that right above that, that's a yoke, and that's how they kept the animals on their harness. Yes.
I have a question. Is this the only part of the United States?
At that time.
All the United States?
Well, this is the whole United States today, but as you can see, parts of it were not the United States. Like this says Mexico. So Mexico was part of California and Arizona, and we had to buy these pieces of land or take them. And you're going to read a little bit more about that. So I want you to get into the books. So right now, go ahead and start reading silently, and I'm going to take some notes on your reading. Okay? Very beginning. Our settlers traveled on the north side of the Snake River for a while, then crossed back. Yeah, meaning they went across the river, and then they traveled a little bit, and then they went across again like that. That would be like crossing back. You understand what I'm saying? So they went across the river a couple times. Like if you go across the river and you come back, you just cross back. Okay?
That looks like if you...
Yeah, but you got it upside down. It does, really does. All right. Okay, Jackson, from the very beginning, I want to hear you do some reading for me, buddy. Let me find you. All right, I have you here. Show me your stuff, buddy. Here, we have room. You can scooch yours. There we go.
Our parents were going on a 2-week trip to Paris, where you have to sit politely during long meals and be very well behaved in the hotel. That was why we went to stay with Grandma. Now she's not like any other grandma we know. She's always studying up on our ancestors.
What are ancestors?
Like people that passed before them.
Okay, your relatives that have already been before you. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
And her walls are covered with portraits, all of people who lived long ago. And if things were weird enough, imagine a surprise when, right after our parents left, Grandma asked which of our ancestors we'd like to visit.
I'm putting this away.
All right. What's this about?
It's about them going to their parents going to Paris, and they're staying with their grandma with portraits of their people that have famous people that have been.
Do they have to be famous? Can't they just be their relatives from before? Okay. Yeah. Don't you have portraits on your wall at home? No? Okay. And what do we have here?
It says, you mean I could actually meet that man? Yes, Lenny, but I wouldn't recommend it. As I recall, he has a very nasty temper. What about her? She looks a lot like me. Yes, she does, and she's even named Elizabeth, just like you.
All right. My only suggestion right now, what are you doing well as a reader?
I'm looking at the words, but sometimes I lose the lines.
Okay. So what would be your suggestion for yourself then to get better at that? Well, you're very fluent reading this, and I would like you to stop a little bit more at the periods and the commas and put a little bit more expression into what you're reading. Again, you're doing a brilliant job, fluently reading, and I understand it's a first read, but you may want to try to just put a little bit more expression into it, especially when you're doing the talk bubbles, because they're actually doing some talking here. You mean I could actually meet that guy? Put yourself into it, all right? Yes, Lenny, but I wouldn't recommend it. As I recall, he had a very nasty temper, all right? So you practice that a little bit as you're reading, okay? Keep going, you're doing great. How about you, Addie? Wherever you're at, sweetie. Yeah, wherever you're at, go ahead.
Pretty soon we found the wagon where we were looking for. Walking beside it was our great-great-great-great-grandmother, Elizabeth. Of course, in in 1843. She was only 10 years old. Grandma told Elizabeth's family that we were distant relatives and we didn't have a wagon. They said we could ride with them. I'm Elizabeth. I'm Elizabeth too. But you can call me Liz.
So why do you think the author put the talk bubbles in? I see throughout this book there's a ton of talk bubbles. Why would the author do that? Any idea? Yeah, to make it more interesting, and it's kind of funny because they even have the dogs talking down there, like, hi there, you know, it's like, again, and you're laughing at that, and I laughed at it too when I read it, so, yeah, I think he's, you know, just trying to put a little humor, and I don't know, it kind of reminds me a little bit like some of the graphic novels that you guys are reading today, because it has a lot of talking like that, and the, you know, with the bubbles, so, all right, you're doing an awesome job. What do you think you need to work on as a reader? Expression, okay. And how do we get better expression?
Practicing.
Just practicing, yeah. So when you get done, go back and pick a page and just read that page several times and see if you can get, you know, a lot of expression into it. All right? Nice job, keep going. All right, Mr. Cade, I want to hear you, buddy. Let me find you first,
Now I
wherever
know.
you're at.
Now I know why they invented Windows. I can't see a darn thing in there. Usually we walked if we got really tired. Though we rode the wagon. It was crowded and very bumpy. I couldn't see much. Wow. This thing needs shock absorbers.
What are shock absorbers?
I don't know.
And why would they say, this thing needs shock absorbers? Have you ever heard the word shock absorbers before? Well, those are the things that they put on cars. And the purpose is so that, like, if there's a bump, like, you know, you're going through one of these big potholes, you know how the roads right now have lots of potholes? When you hit those potholes, instead of, like, jumping up and down in your seat, the shock absorbers stop that movement. Now in the wagon, they don't have shock absorbers, so every time they hit a hole, you know, a bump or something like that, everybody's flying. I mean, they're going to be up out of their seat. Okay. So what do we think so far? What do you know so far? What's going on?
It's back in 1843.
Okay. So in the past, definitely right. And I asked you to think about, you know, what you would take on this journey. Are you still thinking that? All right. Anything that you would you know you would take? What?
I would take my bed and
Is it gonna fit in there?
I don't know.
I don't know, but I think your dad's gonna veto that and say the bed is not gonna fit in there. Unfortunately.
I'll take my food
No?
in the microwave.
Yes, but where are you gonna get the power, buddy? Where are you gonna get the power? All right. All right. Keep thinking. Keep reading. What are you doing well as a reader, Katie?
Reading
Come on, back on track. What's that?
reading every word.
You're reading every word and making sure that it makes sense, okay? And that shock absorbers, that was going to go on your sheet if you didn't know what it was, okay? Because I'm not seeing anybody writing down any words, so make sure you're doing that too, okay? All right, good job. All right, Mr. Mason, let me hear you, buddy.
How do they know where to go? There's no road to follow. We have a guide leading us called a pilot. He has maps with directions and landmarks to follow. But who made the maps? Oh, trappers explored the naturalists who came this way earlier and charted the trails the Native Americans had blazed.
What's a naturalist?
Maybe somebody who makes maps, like walks around and follows trails and makes maps from where they started to where they went.
Ooh. See, now I'm thinking of a naturalist more having to do with nature, more with the, you know, with what types of land and what types of animals and things. The person that you're kind of thinking about might be a surveyor, somebody who kind of maps out the land and takes, you know, well, they're not taking pictures, but they're drawing out maps and making maps of what the land looks like or the trail looks like. So keep going, keep going.
Life on the Oregon Trail was pretty much the same day after dark. Hot and very, very dusty. Because of all the dust, everybody moved their wagon to be up front. To be fair to all the families, whoever got to be in front one day went to the rear, the neck.
Do you understand that, what they're talking about?
Maybe so they take turns, one in front,
Yeah.
and then they go to the back, then the one up front,
Yes,
and then they go to the back.
yes, so that everybody gets a different spot in the line, so you're not always first, you're not always last, you know, to go. I noticed when I was talking with Kaden, I heard you exclaim something like, "I knew it, I knew it." What were you talking about? You said it very quietly to yourself, but.
Before I read this line, it was pancakes and bacon. I thought the human cooked Slam Johnson's so good.
So belly,
And then I
yes.
looked at the picture and it was like, is it pancakes and bacon?
Oh, I love it. Again, and that's the reason why I didn't give you those words, because I wanted you to be able to look in the story and realize, because of the words that are around there, that would be pancakes and bacon. And you did exactly what I was hoping you would do. Oh, big thick thumbs up for you today, Mason. So what are you thinking about the book so far? You like it? Okay, good. Well, what do you like about it?
I like that I like how the car, like they're not cars,
Caravan. Wagons.
travel in a line and they don't go all crazy and just first one there.
Okay,
So
good.
they
All
stay
right.
in a line and so other people can help them if they get in trouble.
Oh, that's a very good point, that they were there to help each other out with supplies and things. Okay, awesome. Okay, guys, I'm going to have you go back to your seats and finish it. Remember, I want you to think about what kind of people would actually go on this type of a journey. And I also want you to think about, again, what would you take if you were going on it, okay? Put the word naturalist down on yours, and I want you to get your Chromebook out and look it up, and let me know, okay, for sure.
On the Oregon Trail game.
There is an Oregon Trail game. You've heard my other group before, but we're not doing that today. Okay? That's gonna be either tomorrow or the next day. All right? Okay. Super. Questions? Off you go. Off you go. Nice job, guys.